Here we go. Welcome to another beautiful uh, evening with me. I am uh, live with Lloyd, where the joy of numerology is the joy of learning and enlightenment. I have a very special guest on that's going to be coming on with me in just a couple of moments. We go way back, literally way back. Okay, you know how sometime in relationships they say we got a history. Well, me and this brother, we definitely got a good history. Um, so everybody like, subscribe, share. I think that's it, or share, subscribe, like whichever the order is. If you feel like doing it, please. I am having a special guest on in just a minute, so please, if you can, submit your birthdays. He is a numerologist. He's an author. He's a lecturer. He's a meditation teacher. The man has done everything. But before I introduce him, let me tell you about the Cosmic Forecast, Live with Lloyd Cosmic Forecast. Right now, we have switched from about 2 days ago. We're now in the sign of Virgo. Astrologically, by the moon. The moon is in the sign of Aries, and we'll be making changes on Friday, going into Taurus. I think it's either tomorrow evening, going into Friday, but by Friday to be in the sign of Taurus for the weekend. It's a full universal month, and what I did was I took 2021, added it to the month of August. That gave me 13, and 1 plus 3 is 4. And this is an 11 universal day. When you take today's month, day, and year, add it across, it adds to the master number 11, which means we should be about raising our consciousness, our awareness, our kundalini, call it what you will. What I'm going to do without further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest. His name is, and there he is, his brother Francis F. Revels Bay.
Yes,
How you
yes.
doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Feeling happy.
Very, very good. First of all, thank you for being my very first guest. And tell people what you do.
Well, I've been for such a long time. I've been a person that was doing numerology way back in the mid 70s, kind of right after college. But before that, I was into meditation while I was in college. Before that, when I was 8 years old, I had my first dream, I thought. And my mother, who I didn't know was going to become my spiritual teacher as years went on, told me
Hmm.
it was a vision.
Hmm.
And sure enough, it happened. 10 years later, I wound up on a college campus called Bard College. Everything that happened in that vision unfolded from the time my foot hit the campus. I was experiencing so much stuff.
Well, question: how did you come across numerology in the first place?
Well, it was interesting. One of my mother's younger brothers at the time, he lived in South Plainfield, New Jersey. And back in the day, he needed some help. He had somebody help share an apartment, and the
Hmm.
guy wasn't. Guy was, I guess, drinking a lot. So he said, "Oh, you're nice and green for New Jersey. You come on out and help me." So
Hmm.
one day, he loved to cook. All my mother's brothers can cook. They
Hmm.
cook like chefs. It was a
Hmm.
hobby for them.
Hmm.
So he was preparing to do some cooking at someone's house, and he rode to one of those flea market places, indoor flea markets where they had the food.
Yeah.
And as we pulled up outside, there was this guy with a ton of books on tables, and I was like, "That's a lot of books."
Hmm.
So I went over there. I said, "What do you got?" He said, "Every book on this table is anywhere from $10 to 25 cents." And I was like, "Really?" So what happened was I found a book on astrology, big unabridged book.
Hmm.
Got back home and was like this. I said, "I don't understand what this stuff is. This is just way too much." Way.
Hmm.
And then I could see the numbers, and I'm saying like, "I'm gonna go." So I said, "My uncle, when you going back?" He said, "Oh, you want to take that back? I'll take you next Saturday." I said, "Look, good, let's do that." We went back, gave the book back. Guy said, "We'll take any 5 books you want. You can just have them." First book that fell in my hand was Kiro's Book of Numbers, and the second book was a book by Ken Avery
Yeah.
on numerology.
Avery. Yeah.
Right, and both of them had the Chaldean system. So of course I opened up and looked at my destiny. I said, "Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's my birthday. Yeah, I'm taking these books."
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it
Uh,
works.
and that was in the summer of 1974. So that's how I started doing numerology. And I did it for about 3 years just as a hobby. And I remember one day being back in Long Island, I went to the unemployment office, hot, muggy, raining, got upstairs, and something whispered in my ear and says, "Get up, go home. There's a gift waiting for you." And I followed it, went down the stairs. They kept calling my name. I didn't turn around. I didn't answer. I walked home, got back to my aunt's house where my mother and I was staying, and there was a cousin there, and his name was Frank, and they used to call me by my nickname back then, which was Buster. He said,
Mhm.
"Hey, your mother says you doing something with numbers and you can figure out people's personalities." He says, "I got two ladies I'm thinking about. Could you do something like that for me?" And I said, "Well, I'm like this when I type a chart. It's gonna
Yeah,
take
yeah, yeah.
forever. I can't really type." He said, "Yeah, do something for me." So as I'm going up the stairs, he said, "Well, how much you going to charge me? I want to pay you for your time." I said, "Pay me for my time?" So as I came back down the stairs, that's when it hit me. A gift. That was the gift.
Ah,
So
I
I
see.
said, being a numerologist, I picked the number 37 because that's power, that's,
Hmm.
insight. And I said, two for 37. He said, "I'll give you 40." And I said to myself, purification.
Yeah, yeah,
Went
yeah.
upstairs. It took me 4 or 5 weeks, gave it to him. He was excited. He was so excited that I was accurate. And that's how I started doing it. And then my brother and I used to go up to the Tree of Life bookstore and hang out on Wednesday nights. After Moorish Temple meeting, we'd hang out. That's how I met Dr. Moore, met Kanya. And then I turned around, I asked them, I said, "Hey, I'm looking for a numerology buddy." And Dr. Moore said, "Check the table. Get that flyer there that says Lloyd Strayhorn." So I picked that flyer up and I hemmed and hawed by a few months. And then I contacted you. I think it was right after Thanksgiving. And I still have the date in my head. We met Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Tree of Life bookstore. And the date was December the 7th, 1978.
That shows you how long we've been doing this. More than a minute, that's for sure.
Was more than a minute. And I remember I was doing stuff, and you said to me, "Well, it's a 4 week cram course." I said, "I don't care. I just want to do. I gotta be something you're doing that I'm not doing that I need to learn." And I think we're doing pinnacles and challenges. But I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
everything else down, and then I remembered you said, "Well, this is the real test for you. I got a couple of names, and I want you to give me the names." We got 2 hours to kill, and I was worked out all the names. And then you
And
said, "Well,
you were doing things by hand before they had all these computers and all this stuff.
yeah,
It was by hand
by
and in your
hand,
head.
and
Yeah.
head." So I remembered writing everything out. And I remember you looked at my bag. I had an old bowling bag, everybody. And Lloyd says, "What's in there?" And I pushed it over him. He said, "You did all of this? You did all of this?" He said, "Come here, young man." We walked over to Kanye. You said, "Hey, Kanye, I just found a guy who's going to teach beginners numerology." And I
Yeah, well,
and
we've had a good relationship, and we're both sevens, by the way,
both
born
sevens.
exactly a month apart.
Hmm.
So we're both sevens, met on a seven in the year of the seven. So I would like to say, as we would say, that's no accident.
No accident.
So our relationship has actually spanned decades, not years, but decades, which I think is very good.
Yes.
Now, but you have evolved and you established the circle of grace, and grace is very important. I think people think of grace as peaceful and serene and whatnot. Tell us about grace. Who is grace?
Okay. Well, it's called the Circle of Grace One because once I got out of college, I had realized, and I graduated in 1974. I was an art major, BA in fine arts, but I had so many difficulties that I was going through. First of all, as a quote unquote minority art major out of 90 art majors, a kid who went to a public school, and all the other students every summer they were at Sorbonne. Their parents could send them all over the world. So I was competing with that,
Mm.
but I wasn't afraid to be competitive because I learned to be myself. My mother was born Grace Virginia Delaney. And of course, she married my father, who had the last name Revels. So she wanted me, actually, she wanted to have her own spiritual circle. She was a member for many years of the Rosicrucians and the Star groups. But she got sick because she was diabetic and she had a vision that she wasn't going to be on the planet too much longer. So she told me that, where I grew up on Long Island is not my home. I'm going to wind up in Albuquerque, New Jersey. That's where I belong, in New Mexico. But she said, I'm going to take you to my circle of friends because I want to make sure you got this ability. So we would every
And this is your
Saturday.
mother?
Yeah, my mother. So every Saturday I would drive, we would go from Hempstead in Nassau County. And she said, well, which direction you want to go? I said, well, let's get rid of the east first. So we would drive all the way out to Shirley and we would come in Shirley, Southampton. She had all of these friends. But the friend that stuck out in my mind was a Haitian lady in the Midwood section of Brooklyn. We went to her house one Saturday and everybody was expecting my mother to come with me. And when that lady met me, the first thing she did was me with these big hands, read my palms. And I looked at my mother and says, what is she talking about? I don't know nothing about palms, And this was in 1976, 77.
Mm-hmm. Hello?
The
I think,
writing.
okay, go ahead.
Then she threw something out else at me that looked like shells, and I don't know that. So she said, Grace, can you excuse me for a minute? Can you go talk with the rest of the family? She closed that sliding door. She looked around in the kitchen and she says, do you like coffee? I said, yeah. She said, do you like tea? I says, yeah. She says, I got something. And so she taught me how to read coffee grounds
Really?
and tea leaves that day, and all within an hour and a half. Then she called my mother back in and she said, he's naturally gifted, but he cannot chase this gift. He's got to let it grow on him. So she looked at me and she said, young man, don't chase it. Don't try to read anybody. You will know because the people will look at you and know you got something on you. Then you read it. And that's how it began.
I think that's amazing. This is Live with Lloyd. I'm your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Straightworm, with my very, very special guest and longtime colleague, brother, associate. And by the way, he's an author. He talked about the book he picked up in 70 something. Well, he's went to author 5 books himself. So
Yeah.
we talk about that. But you know what we're gonna do too. And by the way, I want people, if you got questions, submit your birthdays and whatnot. And okay, because I see a couple of people have submitted their birthdays. Peace to you already. And what we're going to do? Wow, several people have. And talk about your 5 point creative pathwork system, please.
Okay. The 5 point creative pathwork system is based on five vessels, as I call them. And the five vessels are based on a book that I just put out on Amazon, my fifth book, which is this called Decree and It Shall Be, Speak as I Am.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is an intensive training course where I show people how to work with affirmations, prayers, especially a prayer that they write from their heart, not a prayer that they pick up somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
which is good just the same. They learn how prayer is the partner to meditation. They'll also learn meditation, first of all, because that's the seed and the foundation of everything for them in order to get where they have to get more clarity in their life, to find more purpose. I show them how to write an affirmative prayer so they can give themselves spiritual treatment. And then the big one is decrees. And my goal is to get them into a fluid motion so that when they are ready to write a decree, it's just like music. It's they start using their meditation and it starts flowing. And it's a matter of being comfortable. I've met a lot of people that say affirmations don't work. Well, I always tell them, like the late Reverend Ike would say, that's because you're not working it. You're thinking about it, but you're not applying it. You
Hmm.
got to live what you're saying.
How did you come up with this 5 point process?
Well, I have been working on my numerology book and one of my other books. The numerology book I didn't get done yet, and I was in a business training class, and the two ladies that were teaching the class said, "There's something about you. You got to come up with something." So we were brainstorming, and it hit me. I said, "I'm almost done with the book. It's going to be out in a couple of months." She said, well, "What's the name of the book?" I said, "Decree and It Shall Be." And I started talking about the book. She says, "That's your training system. What do you think it is?" And then I said it.
Interesting. It's almost as if that was designed to pull that out of you.
Yes, and we all got hairs rose up on our skin. And she said,
Wow.
"I can't wait to see this thing take off."
And decree and it shall be. That's
Yes,
your latest book.
that's the latest book.
Okay, I know you got some other books too, but you know what we're gonna do?
We could say that toward the end. I think we can.
I'm gonna let some people have fun. Hi, Patricia, Felicia, my cousin Tom, Kara. Um, Good morning, Linda. Um, we've gotten some people that responded as far away as Egypt and Australia,
Woo!
which is pretty good when you think about that. Okay, I'm gonna. There's Tom Johnson, who
Okay.
was born October the 15th, 1959. Now, question: they don't give a question per se; they just give their birthday. Would that
Okay.
be sufficient for you?
Yeah. I must, because I'm dealing with a lot of energy, and my late mother and her mother also come to me. They're talking to me all the time. So people on here are gonna get some numerology information, and I might hear a message that they're gonna get on top of it.
Okay, well, we got quite a few. So we're going to start with Tom Johnson, who's born October the 15th, 1959. Let's see. You should
Okay.
be able to see his information up on the screen.
Yes.
Can you see
Yes.
it?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
I,
okay. So what can you pick up about him? And then we're going to also make sure we. Thanks, Lenise.
one
We
of the
make
things I,
sure.
I pick up about him right away, he has that number 15. That whenever I observe and see a number 15, that means a person can get a lot of ideas, but they will change their ideas and their plans often. So he doesn't mean to be a pain in the rear end to any of his friends. If they say, "Hey, we decided to go to this club tonight," and he gets a last minute urge, which is a gut feeling that he's getting, and he goes, "Why don't we go over here first?"
Hmm.
And because of he has this thing as a Libra, he's able to balance his emotions and his thoughts. So he's just not going by his gut feeling. It's actually a well thought out plan, and most of the time he's correct. So he needs to definitely follow that. And if you notice, he's born in his birth year adds to a 6, so he's hit with the 6 twice.
Yeah. Well, actually, he's hit with it 3 times to me because he's under the sign of Libra, which is a 6, born on the
Yes.
15th, and then the year,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
a
So
6.
and when you bring that all together, his single digit destiny number is a 4.
Mhm.
So to other people, he might operate in a completely different way, but to him, it makes sense.
It's quite normal.
One of the things about you, Tom, is that you always think outside the box. I'm quite sure you were bored with some of the regular plans that people have, and you would go like, if they only knew that you just got to step over here, this whole thing would open up like that.
Well, I tell you this, Tom just left a message saying that's amazing, which is, is as long as we do this, it's always amazing how this works. Okay, so let's take another person here. All righty. Um, I'm coming, everybody. He said, "Yep, you made it. Good." Avery was one of the first ones she read. This is a Patricia Kevin Quinn Avery on his astrology book. I got a couple of his books. Okay, we're gonna take this young lady. Her name is Eva.
Yvonne.
And Eva, I mean Yvonne. Well, Yvonne, and she's born 6/28.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Now, the other guy, his destiny number was a 22/4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had that 6th birth year, and here she's coming along with a 5 birth year. All right, which is
In other
actually
words, you're saying her destiny, which is taking the month, the day, and the year she's born. That's what you're referring to.
well, yeah, she's born in 1994. So
Yes.
that's a 23, which is a 5 in itself. If we add these numbers up, if I got it
She would
correctly,
have a 3 destiny.
yeah, she'll have
In the third
a
grade.
3 destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And with that 3 destiny, she's here to learn how to be very creative, sometimes to be more outspoken and to be very articulate. And she's born under the sign of Cancer, but she has that number 1, which is almost like a Leo vibration to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
she's both fire and water at the same time. The 28 tells me, though, that she should not trust everything that everybody says, even me. She should really,
That's funny.
she can be like a historian in her own way. So everything I'm saying tonight, I know she's gonna like, let's check this out. Let me check. But that's what she's supposed to do.
Well,
And
that's interesting.
she has, check this out. She's born on 28, 28. We say 2 numbers, 20 and 8. So people
Mm-hmm.
born from 20 to 29 in that calendar, they are the transformers. They are the people that make dramatic changes, not only for themselves, but other people that they're dealing with. And it ends on an 8. So she thinks like an elder. She doesn't think like a young person. She thinks like an elder.
Although she's young.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Well, we will see what she had to say about that. Okay. And let's see who we can get. She just says, "Wow, that's a nice journey." So she's happy. Good. Let's go with this person here. They are Tito, born April 16th, 1962.
62. They got
Yes.
92.
Well, oh, excuse me, 92. That was my
Right.
brain flipping that 9 upside down. Okay.
Yeah, we
Sorry about that.
numerologists do that, don't
He
we?
probably said, "What?" Okay.
Hmm. Well, this is very unique. Very unique. If I got this straight, our 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 current year is 2021, but
Yes.
his destiny shows 2012. Like the numbers got reversed.
Yes.
So he has an opportunity to have some kind of a breakthrough, and he's born on the 16th day. So the 16th number, if he was dealing with a tarot, the major arcana card, 16 would be the flash of lightning bolt hitting the tower, which
Mm-hmm.
tells me that he needs to follow his gut feelings. He has the flash of intuition on him all the time. 16, 1 plus 6 is 7. He belongs to the old soul trilogies when birthday numbers add to 4, 7, and 8. He's technically an old soul in a young body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
he has a lot of wisdom to offer to people. Now, being that, the spirit of the angel of grace comes to me and tells me to tell this person to write down all their thoughts and write down all of their ideas. Because somewhere deep inside, there's a book that's going to be born.
Okay, good. And when you do, let us know so we can buy a book and get your autograph, as they say. All right. Let's see. Now we got a Lisa. Okay, Lisa's chimed in, and she's born on January the 19th, 1967.
Wow. Powerful. 19 is the sun, that
Yeah,
one who shines. You know
yeah.
what I've noticed, and it may be true or it may not be true now because so many pure souls are coming into the planet. But people born in the first month and in the 10th month, usually they're out on their own early in
Mm-hmm.
life to get their
Mm-hmm.
own place rather early, even before they get to be 21, or they
Mm-hmm.
happen to be living with one parent or one sibling that had to take care of them or an elder.
Mm.
So that
Okay.
might be something that she might look at and tell us later. Now, has a life path number which is 25, which is a 7. So she would be drawn to things like this: astrology, numerology, palmistry, handwriting analysis, studying the traditional occult sciences and see how they factor in, looking at dreams. She will also be a person that's into psychology at some point. She could be
Mm-hmm.
a person that, as she goes throughout life, all of her friends turn to her, family members, and asking her for insight because they know
Uh,
that she knows something. You see,
Question. What I want to ask is this. The destiny number means what a person learns over the long period of time, and then there's the date of birth. Is that correct?
right?
Okay, so yeah, because people have asked, and like they'll chime in questions. Well, which is stronger, the destiny? My attitude is the destiny means what a person must learn over the long journey, the long course of it. But
Right.
when we meet people, I normally go right to their zodiac sign and their date of birth, which
Mm-hmm.
is more immediate, I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine. All
Mm-hmm.
righty. So I would. You're saying that Lisa is therefore a headstrong, independent young lady.
Yeah, but she's supposed to be.
Well,
She
that makes sense
she
to me.
she
She's got
needs
all
that.
those
She
ones and
needs to
nines.
be that way, so that people aren't walking on her like a doormat.
Okay, I got a feeling she don't allow that, but um, just looking at that birthday. Okay, so let's go with wow, a lot of people are calling. And by the way, thanks everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, Now this is another person. And by the way, I take it. Oh, this is another person
They're
born
born
on June the
6/28.
28th, but in a different year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And interesting. See, that year adds to 9. That
Yes,
year adds to 9.
which means this
So
person got a seven destiny.
yeah, they got a 7 destiny. But I think for them, since I'm looking at that year, birth year with all the nines and running in there,
Uh huh.
this person has a very strong mental attitude, able to adjust mentally very quick with things, even though they can be emotional. I feel that John may trust more, but at the same time, John will take a step back and observe.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
even many people could become his friend right away. There's a part of him that's going to be checking. Not that he doesn't trust the person, but something telling him something's off with the person. And he might pick up that maybe they're not feeling well or they just went through a difficult situation. So for him, it would be how he would present that feeling, how he would articulate that feeling to somebody.
Question: Do you do personal readings? Can people call you and get more in depth? Because people don't understand when we're doing this. You got about 60 to 90 seconds that you putting all this information into in a spigot of time. Um, but I guess you do consultations where people can reach out to you.
Yeah. Hmm.
Good. Okay,
Hmm.
we're going to make sure we get all that information to and about the books. So,
Yeah.
John, I hope you found that very interesting. And let me see, because there's quite a few people that's on. And I thank everybody.
Thank you.
I'm getting everybody together. Hold on one second, folks. Felicia is next. Did I get
Hmm.
it? Yep,
Yeah.
Felicia.
Wow. Felicia's got a strong birth year. She's drawing that 4 in
Yeah, a
there.
master
See,
number too.
yeah, the 22 back in there. Now, what's unique here um, is her life path number is a 2. So single digit 2.
Yes.
2 is to me is the gift of partnership. So throughout her life, Felicia, throughout your life, you're going to be concerned with the different kind of people that you partner up with, whether it's a romantic situation, marital situation, a job situation, or you might want to go into business for yourself. You're going to be concerned with their track record, but how they work with their feelings. That's going to be very important. And you're born on a two, raw digit two. So you are like an ambassador. You could be a negotiator. People might come to you and say, well, this person said that, and that person said that. You'll go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me listen to you. Don't you say anything. Now it's your turn. Let me listen to you. Don't you say anything. And you have this ability that you can kind of bring people together, or at
back to
least,
a degree.
yeah, or at least she'll get people to understand each other, their views and their opinions, so that they're not just being
Well, you know,
running rampant with their emotions all the time.
it's interesting because you picked up on it too. I was going to mention her destiny is a two, and
Hmm.
she happens to be born on a two, which to me put more emphasis on it. If a person's
Yes.
destiny number matches their birthday, do you think that makes it easy for them to learn the lessons over a long period of time, or what would be your impressions?
Well, I have something for that too. I also do something called what I call the angle of destiny. So
Uh
we
huh.
know what they come here to learn, and
Mm-hmm.
they're going up like this, but their birthday number can help them stand up. Now, the two birthday number and then the two destiny, if we add them together, that's a four. So what she needs to do is to maintain balance, she has to maintain mental organization. She has to be
Mm-hmm.
very organized with her thinking and then with her planning. And she always has to work from a strong foundation. That will be very, very important for her.
Now that's interesting. Okay, that's definitely good to know. That is
And I
definitely
and the reason why I've done that is because people always ask me, okay, are we soulmates? But who's teaching who? Well, when I get that outside number and then I work the other person's outside number, then I can see what they are. Sometimes the person's outside number is a part of your concept, the birth key numbers. Her outside number was a four. And we know birth key numbers for her is what? Two, seven, and six.
mm-hmm.
Alternative numbers are one and four.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, good. Well, listen, you've been doing this a while. Let me see who else can we get up on here. Quite a few people. Let's see. Oh, let me do back to here. Okay, everybody. Thanks very, very much for this. I think
Yeah,
I saw somebody King Simon too. Uh,
they got me working and sweating now. I got to open up the collar.
okay, this one. Okay, this particular lady, Melanie Hall, she said her mom is gifted but scared of it. Her birthday is the 15th of
Mm,
November of 1954 at 4:30 a.m. in Melbourne, Australia. In fact, this is one of the people who reached out from Australia.
wow.
Um, I would say that while he's figuring it, the one thing that tells me, first of all, she's born on the 15th, and as you and I know, six
Hmm.
rules the sixth sense, an inner
Yeah.
knowing about how. And in fact, my class, How to Read a Person Like a Book, comes from the number six because that's one of their gifts. They can size up people, size up situations, and things like that. So, what would you
Yes.
say for her in this
I,
case?
I would say that her mother needs to learn how to trust that gift. One of the things that will help her is learning how to meditate for herself. Learn how to get into that deep space, not just by guided meditation, but eventually what we call silent meditation. When you can get into that space, you don't hear anything, but you know it's just right. You feel safe, you feel comfortable. Then her higher self, the God in her, will start speaking, and she will then begin to trust what she's feeling and what she is hearing. Plus, she's born in 1954, so that adds to one. And when people have a one birth year number like that, usually they are very dependable individuals. People can trust what they say.
Interesting, interesting. That's interesting. Let's go to the next one. This one here is this is
Jaleesa.
Jaleesa. I think that's
Mhm.
how she says it. She's a Capricorn, January the 3rd, 1997.
Whoa. This is, I like this. This is prominent. Hers is a three, if I'm not mistaken.
Which
Feels
is
like
a
she
what?
has a three life path
Yeah, she has
destiny
a
number.
3 destiny born on the third day. Yeah, so
Yeah,
she would be like the last one who was
yeah. The
born.
three, the number adds and
Yeah,
intensifies it. So three
yeah.
and three would give her a six. So she would be an excellent teacher. And three to me is the person who's artistic. They can express themselves, written or spoken word, might be drawn to poetry, but you're an earth
Mhm.
sign person. So whatever you say is going to be practical. It's not going to be all over the place. It's going to be well thought out. Even the feelings are like well thought out. You're not like mamby pamby with it. It's like this is how I feel, but this is also how I think. So she can
Okay.
be very articulate.
Yeah, and three is also the number of people who are normally more ambitious or career oriented than domestic oriented too. So I'm sure whoever she is involved with or get married to, they will find out either the easy way or the hard way. I would imagine.
And also
Uh,
if she's a party giver, likes to throw parties, she'll make the best host. Nobody has an empty glass or an empty plate. You leave there full.
and King Simon put in his thing. Her mom has to heal from past issues and traumas also.
Hmm.
I think this is the one he was referring to, Melanie's mom,
Oh,
who was
okay.
born
Yeah.
November the 15th,
Hmm.
things of that nature. So
Hmm.
I don't know whether you're familiar with King Simon. The brother is also a
No,
prolific writer like you. Well, anyway,
I
he's
could
good. He's good.
already feel him.
Yeah, yeah, King Simon, something else. He's going to be one of my guests on soon too. Uh, this is very important. But before we take the next call, though, what is it? What is it about people sometimes with meditation? They find meditation a challenge. Yet meditation is very, very beneficial once people get into it.
Yeah.
Is it because
Well,
they can't control their minds? I think that
yeah.
might be what discourages
Uh,
them. They get there and their mind is going all kind of ways, and they're trying to keep
but
it still.
this is what I tell people. I've been doing meditation since 1971. It's okay. Why? Because we're thinking people. We're thinking all the time. Plus, we're bombarded with billions of data of information from the time you wake up in the morning, turn on the radio, TV, computer, listen to your phone, going outside. You are this walking library taking in all this information. So yeah,
True.
now when you try to sit down, your throat's gonna, your eyes gonna twitch, your nose is going to run because your body doesn't want you to sit down. It wants to be on the go. It wants to do something. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to
Mm-hmm.
allow that experience to take place. What I tell people is go through it, then don't pay it any mind, and it will slide away. What's doing that is that little part called the ego. The ego is the inner child running rampant and saying, I want to do this, I want to do this, I don't want to sit, I don't want to sit. But eventually you don't pay it too much attention, it slides away. Then you
Uh-huh.
start getting quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter. So eventually, all you're going to do is hear your own heartbeat, or you're going to hear yourself breathe. Now you're in that quiet stage, but it doesn't happen overnight. Look, I used to
They have
give
to be
guided meditation.
consistent.
I used to give guided meditations on Long Island, be so deep, Lord, that I fall asleep. And there's a whole room of people. And, and the person who runs the place would be tapping me like, did you just fall asleep? And I'd wake up, the whole class would be cracking up. But I would tell them, yeah, you notice I gave you the countdown from 10 to 1, but I got stuck at 7. I was waiting for the elevator. It never came down. I was like, I got a whole class of people. I must
No,
have
you
just.
go deep. You go deep. So, but anyway,
So
though,
it happens.
because it's very important, and I think people think they got to. I tell people it's like saying, "Don't think of the color orange." Well, that's the first thing
Mhm.
you're gonna think about just as soon as I said it. So I think the more people in meditation try to quiet their minds, the more their mind is going to be busier, rather than
Yeah.
let the mind just work out whatever it's got to do, let
Hmm.
it clear its space, and then the next
Yes.
thing you drifting into it.
But I do tell people this: if you're very tired, don't meditate.
Why is that?
Well, you're gonna fall asleep, and
Like you did.
yeah, like
I'm only
you fall
kidding. I'm
asleep
only
because you're very
kidding.
tired. Another thing is don't try to do your meditation while laying down. Why? Because 100,000 times you've lain down to do what? Go to sleep.
Uh-huh.
So you
Uh-huh.
got to sit up. That you have to do. You have to
Hmm.
learn to sit. You got to learn to relax. I tell people I'm not a drill sergeant in none of my classes. I said, look, we're all adults. If I hear you fall asleep, I ain't gonna wake you up. I'm gonna tell everybody else, don't wake him or her up. They're
Hmm.
supposed to. They needed that. It's okay. And usually
What
when they
is
take,
the what
hmm
is the ideal time of meditation? Some meditate. Do they meditate 5 minutes, 10 minutes? They meditate longer. I mean, like you got the Dalai Lama who can probably meditate for
for
hours.
hours,
You
days,
know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
that's all he does is
Well,
meditate for
the
those
first
couple of hours.
time around is
For a
use
novice, a new person.
yeah, new person. Start with 10 minutes because you got to get accustomed to your body weight sitting in the right kind of chair for yourself. You got to get accustomed to your posture and how you breathe. You're going to do that for at least the first 2 days. Then the third day, you extend it by 5 minutes. The fourth and the fifth day, you can extend by another 5 or 10 minutes. Why? Because you already have worked on the mechanics of sitting,
Ah,
keeping yourself up straight, and
okay,
breathing.
okay.
Then, when you hit about the seventh day, you should be at about 30 minutes by that time, and then sit in a 30-minute meditation every day if you can for about a week after, and then you can add on a little bit more time. For most beginners, I say get up to about an hour. That's
Hmm.
that's sufficient. If you can control your body mechanics, and by that time you'll see your thoughts dance through. You'll be laughing at yourself because the thought is not bothering you anymore.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you just
It's
bring,
like a stream of
yeah.
consciousness just going
And
through.
most people in meditation that have done it years, like myself and before me, instructors that I had, they always say, pay attention to the rhythm of your breathing. To me, I don't hold the breath at the top of the inhalation nor the bottom of the exhalation. I have taken one thing from martial arts training, and that's place the tongue to the roof of the mouth behind the two front teeth.
Hmm.
There's a back channel coming up over the spine and a bottom channel coming over the front. So I kind of tease my students and say, you're going to use that little short spine. They say, what do you mean short spine? I says, your sternum. Put your mind in the center of your chest. Focus there, breathe from there. So most of my meditations are what I call heart centered because if you focus there, you get into the energy field of the heart chakra. And what's going to happen is that's the bridge between the physical and the spiritual world. And you just keep working there. And eventually you have that euphoric state that you get bliss. You start coming across blissful moments. Also, though, you're going to see stuff that pops up.
Yeah, it's very
It's okay.
interesting. Yeah, because
Takes
I
time.
meditate a lot too, and it is interesting. We have another person, Kimberly, and Kimberly says her birthday is 10/28/83. Her father's is December the 10th, and he's in a 9 year. And unfortunately, he had a stroke on this month, the month of August, I would imagine. Sorry to
Mm,
hear that, Kimberly. He's okay, but
yeah.
I'm just keeping him close to my spirit. It's interesting talk about the stroke because you and I know that each number rules a part of the body, and the
Yes.
number one rules the heart
Mm-hmm.
palpitations, irregular blood circulations, the lower back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the fact that he had it, she said this month, I'm referring to sometime in
Yes.
sometime in August. But I'm
Right.
looking at the fact that if because I look at the year, first of all, he's in a 9 personal year, which is a health indicator.
Mm-hmm.
That means he's in a 8 personal week. So I would imagine it should have been in the week of the 15th to the 21st, just several days ago, to be
Yeah.
honest. because that would have been a stressful situation. Don't know. Anyway,
Mm.
what are your thoughts?
Well, this is interesting. She's another one now, the third person we have here, born on the 28th.
Sure, sure,
Okay.
that certainly
Now
is.
she's born in the 10th month though. So
Yeah.
that makes her a Scorpio one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Scorpios to me are the surgeons of the zodiac. They can get real deep. They can think really deep on a situation. And because they can do that, they could pull up, extract all kind of information. Her life path number is a 5, and it happens to be the year that it worked out to is 2021. This
Uh-huh.
year,
Interesting.
universal
It could be a
5.
very significant year for her then.
Yeah, very
Okay.
powerful year. And what that is, 5 is communication, freedom of speech, language, being very articulate. We can see that 5 or 6 vibrations where they fall, people will attract people who are either their age or younger sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Even themselves, they look younger than what's on paper. So a
Mm-hmm.
person is supposed to be, 50 something on paper, and you look at them, God, they don't look like a day over 40 because
Yeah,
it's the
yeah,
energy that they
yeah,
carry with
yep,
themselves.
yep, yep,
So
yep.
I see her as a very analytical person. And it's interesting. She's born in the 10th month and her dad's born on the 10th day.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too.
Very, very correlations there going on. And her father's born in the 12th month, which adds to 3. She's born in 1983, and that's a 3.
4, 5, yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
he is a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's a 6 destiny.
right, right.
No, 65, that would
He's a
be
7 destiny.
21, 21. Yes, he'd be in a 7 destiny. That's exactly
But
right.
check this out. She's born in 1983. At the end, the 8-3 is an 11. All right.
Yeah.
He's born in 1965. The 6 and 5 is an
Is in the
11.
11. Yeah, I was thinking that there too, looking at the last two numbers that they were.
And they both have then their birth year being a 3.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So I
I
think
see
that's
there's a lot
very
of closeness.
interesting how you can see that. Well, first of all, Kimberly, first of all, we're glad that your dad had recovered.
Yes.
It just shows that we really do have to take good care of our health, and the fact that he's okay is a blessing. And she says, "Okay, I just keep him close with my spirit team." Good. That means she
Mhm.
has some
Mhm.
compadres, some companions, that are all either steeped in prayer or meditation, and
Mhm.
things like that do work. Believe it or not,
Yes,
believe it
they
or
do.
not, is very good. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Okay, here's another person, Rebels Bay, and
Shane.
she says, "Hi, Lloyd. Thanks for sharing wisdom." And she is born 4/22/1984.
1984 is a 22.
Yeah, yeah. And she's born on a 22, and
Woo.
she's born on a 4, so she's a triple 4 across the board.
Yeah, triple 4. Then you got all the 4s cooking like that. The universe is causing you, Shane, to work, 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 work. Always having to keep your head down, but work on the things that are important for you to do. And with all those 4s coming across like that, that's a 12. Well, reducing to 12, but it could be a 30 in there without me figuring it all out.
Yeah,
Which
right.
means
Just keep it simple. She's a 3 destiny.
yeah, so the 30, which would be a 3, the 30 means you contemplate deep. You're
Yeah,
always
that's a
thinking,
mental
always
superiority.
analyzing.
That compound number,
Yeah,
definitely.
always thinking very deeply with the 3. So you're here to learn how to express yourself first to yourself. So I would say before you get up and leave the house every day, take a look in the mirror and go, Shane, what do you want to do today? Or go, I love you. I love what I'm looking at. And if you're not feeling that way, use your mirror to give yourself a pep talk so that when you leave your house, you're all smiles.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Do that. And now the 22 birthday number means that the phrase that was used for it is grand architect. But the 22 means you're able to listen to somebody's dream and see where it has to go on a map. So for yourself, you're here to take your dreams and turn them into reality. You're never supposed to sit on something too long. If you do, then you forget about it, you get bored, and you find yourself jumping all over the place.
All right. Now let's take one more person, and then we're gonna, because time goes by fast.
Oh yeah.
This is Jackie Fillmore. She says, oops, I guess. She's March 7th, 1950.
You know what I got to say to that? Yay, a Pisces in the house. I'm not the only one.
No, you're Pisces 7, and she's a Pisces 7,
Pisces
and she
7.
has a
What
seven
up?
destiny.
Yeah,
She has a
yeah,
seven destiny too.
yeah. So she's got all those sevens rolling across. Well, see, people born to me, people born on a single digit, these are the personalities are cut and dry. We say black and white. There's no gray areas. But you're a Pisces person, so that's a mutable water sign. So you have a tendency like, okay, I could see this point, I could see that point, and I could see the point that's not being mentioned. So you have that. You're very in-depth personality. Go by your gut feelings all the time, Jackie. That will help you. Now I got one of my ancestors coming in, and it's my grandmother, and she tells me to tell you in the next 2 to 3 months, you need to take a stronger stance, which means you might be challenged on a thought or an idea that you have in mind, and you should not let that idea go by the wayside. You should claim it as yours. Just
Hmm.
be direct. That's what she's telling me to tell you. Be direct, but don't be afraid to speak your mind. And if other people say, well, that's not true, well, that's their opinion and only their opinion. What really
Yeah,
is meant for you is meant for you.
because that's their opinion, don't mean that's the fact.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put up some information here about how people can get in touch with you. But as you see, he's a numerologist, an author, a teacher, an instructor. His website is a circle of grace 1.us. His number to call for an appointment is 505-220-2583. And please to donate, please $ Francis EF. Now,
Mhm.
does it have to be written that way, all caps in
Yes.
those cap
Yeah,
positions?
just like that. Then they'll find me.
So in other words, if they write it all teeny letters, they won't find you.
Right.
So make sure you write it properly. Cap
Just
S,
like that.
capital FRANCIS, capital E, capital REVELS, capital BEY.
Yeah.
All right, now that we got that out the way, now we're going to talk about these books there, buddy.
Yes.
Let
Yes.
me show people something because I
You got a
tried to,
few there.
yeah, hold on, let me see what I do. Okay, here we go. Uh, these are three of your books that
Right.
people can see.
Right.
So I'm gonna shut this off in a second so people can see. But all these books are all available. You said on Amazon,
Amazon.
right?
Hmm.
So they can pick up copies of it. Let me erase this so we can see you now. So
Yeah,
now you can three
yeah,
books of
that
what?
that first book, which is this one, talks about my life, how I got to be this way, and it talks about many of the things that my mother, Mother Grace, mentioned. It also mentions this book you would like to get because I've written, actually channeled in universal prayers and affirmations and decrees in
In
this
other
book.
words, there are new additions to this book.
Well, this is the book. When I
Uh-huh.
originally wrote the book, I originally wrote the book in 2004.
Hmm.
And at that time, I didn't know that you're supposed to send a query to a book publishing company so you could get somebody interested. And they would always write back, nah, no, no. So one day I did a meditation and my mother came to me and she said, look, God has his hand on this book. Take the manuscript, make copies, and sell the manuscript. So I sold the manuscript at $33 a pop. I sold over hundreds of them.
Hmm.
That was way back 2004, 2005. But when I
Mm-hmm.
got here to Albuquerque, I stayed with some friends of mine down the road who were shamans, and something came over to me, and I gave them the manuscript. They called me and they said, look, this thing needs to be a book. I'm going to help you find a small book publishing company. And it happened. We found a small book publishing company. Then I threw a private party, and the private book release party was on my late mother's birthday, August 11th, in 2017. We were going
Mm-hmm.
to hold it in a park, but it wasn't meant to be. It rained. We held it in their house. Everybody showed up.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good.
So that's
Now, what
this
about
book.
your other books? What about your other
The,
books?
the other books that you see there, The Wisdom of Akhenaten as I Am, which we'll put up here, and The Gift. The gift is the wisdom of Nefertiti as I am. This is the wisdom of Akhenaten as I am. It turned out that in 2006, minding my own business, doing a meditation, Akhenaten shows up, but I didn't know who he was. And I described him to somebody, and they said, "That's Akhenaten." I said, "Really?" So I started doing some research. Then it kind of escaped me. And then he came back to me in the middle of a thunderstorm in 2009. And it was funny because for days I used to sing this song to myself. Who's that knocking at your door? Akhenaten. Who's that ringing the bell? So I was in somebody's house singing that.
Yeah.
And the lightning flash came through. I looked around, they were on the other side of the room. They said, "You sing that one more time, he's gonna reach in here and snatch you out."
Calling out his name like that.
Like
Yeah,
it's nothing.
don't be abusing his name,
Yeah.
okay?
So what
Now
it was,
you wrote two more books.
it was my experience, my remembrance of being with him in his solar temple. And I
Mm-hmm.
talked about some of those things. Ironically, I realized all the things that I teach about now is what he was teaching back then, but in different ways to each of to others. So that came out in 2018.
So even though you live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, you still do sessions. You still
I
take
just
appointments.
do lots of sessions. I teach lots of things. 2019, Nefertiti popped up and she said, "Look, it's not an all men's group." I was there too. I taught you some things. I channeled his book. It took 3 months. Her book took about 2 weeks to channel out the information and
Really?
got it up there. Yeah. Then I came up with The Age of Remembrance, The Divine I Am Presence in Selenite. Well, that book is all about this gemstone, selenite, and
Wow.
how we are called to get gems. Many times we think, "Oh, I think I'm going to go get a gemstone." But what we don't understand is we have the trace mineral of that gemstone in our body. The trace mineral in our body is selenium, Selenium. That's already in our body. So
Mm-hmm.
when the gem is calling, it's vibrating to selenium, and now we start hunting it down. We're being led to it. This is a gemstone that could take some of the kinks out of your spine if used properly.
Really?
So this book talks about my experiences, how I worked with a shaman over here, a Coach T shaman who was a drum maker who injured himself while he was making a drum. And I applied it to him with some deep breathing exercises and him and his prayers. And what happened was he had a fractured rib and a fractured shin. When he went to the indigenous hospital 6 weeks later, they showed him the x ray. They saw this bar, which was that energy laying across. And they asked him, "Okay, what's that?" But I had told him, I said, "Look, if it comes up, please don't mention my name. I don't need to be known on that level." So that's about that. Uh,
Well, and
yeah,
now any other book or anything else you want to say before
that's
we
it.
good? And
Yeah,
this is the last.
Decree and It Shall Be is the last book. It's all these books are on Amazon.com. This is based on my 5 point creative pathwork system. This book is the foundation. It talks about affirmations, prayers, affirmative prayers, meditations, and decrees, and shows you how to
Okay, I think
activate them
we
for yourself.
focus. Okay,
There you go. I'm
okay,
done.
good. All righty. Well, we're not. Well, we got to have you back on again because there was so many people that came through that is like really really amazing. So we're gonna make sure. And before we sign off, I'm gonna make sure. Please take due note of this. This is all of Brother Revels Bay information for you right here.
Yes.
Let me take some things off of here. Francis. Okay, good. Okay, so everybody can see it.
Yeah, if they email me, and this is what I like to do for the people who were in line. My gift to you, people in line that couldn't get a reading tonight, email me your date of birth. You can send me a donation if you like. I just want to give you information, just
And the
like I did it.
email is I am a dot circle of grace number one at gmail.com. And as you said, repeat what you just said, because there was a long line of people that could not
Yeah,
get in.
for
And
all the
when you
people
said
who are
to them,
still standing online, email me as you see the email address and say, hey, I was online and I didn't get a chance to get through. Here's my date of birth, and I'm going to give you a quick blurb in an email.
okay, that's sounds more than fair, Brother Revels Bay. Listen, I thank you very, very much for being my. Hold on, let me get. I gotta get the hang of this.
You will.
Anyway, thanks for being my first guest on. You know it ain't gonna be the last time. And it's interesting, you when I had my radio show at WLIB, WBLS, you were my first guest.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
And I think you appeared more than any other guest on the show. And it
24
covered a
times.
period from 1982 to 1989, which is 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, so we stick to the sevens. That's how we roll. Okay.
Yes.
And in the meantime, though, have a blessed day, Brother Revels Bay. So everybody, please make sure that you let me see something one more second. I got to make sure I put up all the information so people can see it. And here it is again, right here, so everybody can get this, pick up his books. They're all available at Amazon.com. And his website is there, www.circleofgrace.1, circleofgrace1.us. His Instagram, Brother Francis E. Revels Bay. Then his Twitter, Circle of Grace One Institute. Then Facebook, Circle of Grace, and YouTube. All right, and then there's his phone number and everything. And there is his Cash App for those that want to make a donation. But don't forget, folks. Hold on, let me take this off a second. Okay, don't forget, people, that there were a lot of you in line. Okay, and he said all you got to do is email him. The email address was there. Can you repeat the email address one more time
Yes.
for people who may have missed it?
Yes. It's IAM, all lower caps. IAM dot circle of grace with the number one at gmail.com. All you got to say is, Brother Francis, I was online, but the show is over. Here's my date of birth. Can you tell me something? And you send me that email. I'm going to give you the information right back in the email.
No, Francis don't play. I call him Revels Bay. Revels Bay don't play. So please just say you heard him here on Lloyd, Live with Lloyd, and everything. So, Brother Revels Bay, thank you. God bless you, man. And you take good care of yourself too. All
You
righty.
too. And
All
everybody.
right. Oops. What did
Thank
you
you.
say? I'm sorry.
Thank you for having me, everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Yeah, thank you. And everybody, thank you for joining us. This has been Live with Lloyd, where the joy of learning, the joy of numerology is the joy of learning and enlightenment. On Monday, we're going to do numerology in the subconscious mind, part 2. Okay, because we got so many responses. But everybody, thanks for the tremendous response. And next Wednesday, we are going to have this lady here. She is a soul. So watch for her. She'll be on next Wednesday. Everybody, have a blessed day. Have a great, great weekend. Take good care of yourselves. Be safe. And peace.